What is up, you gorgeous, fabulous creatures, and welcome to another week of the Losing It podcast. This is the place, honey, where emotional eating comes to die. So get ready to say adios to your BS excuses and start losing weight, because I have got a topic for you this week that is literally going to blow your mind. So, honey, if you've been following me on Insta or socials for over the last couple of days, you may have seen me talking about a little 90-day experiment that I did from the beginning of this year. So from January to now, which is the 1st of April today, I have been conducting a 90-day experiment. Now, this is what I did. I wanted to know if, you know, that magical land that we all think about, everybody has this fantasy about being able to eat anything that you want and not feeling bad about it. And I just wish I could eat all the food that I love all the time and I wouldn't get fat and I don't want to exercise. And we think that there's this magical world and that some people live there, and we don't really know who these people are, but they're obviously the skinny people. And why can't we be one of them? So I decided to conduct a little experiment with myself, and I thought, what would really happen if I ate anything that I wanted for a period of time? I chose 90 days, and I didn't let myself feel bad about it. I just let myself enjoy the food. Am I really going to gain that much weight? Is it really amazing? Like, I fantasize about it and it will be so incredible, and I'm just going to be able to eat chocolate all day, every day, and this is going to be great. So your girl did it. You did it. I know this is a fantasy that you all have too. And let me tell you, what I thought would happen was that I would feel free and I'd be so happy and this would be amazing. But what actually happened was I gained 7 kilos, felt sluggish and bloated. Every day I felt sick. I couldn't sleep. I just had the worst sleep issues, obviously no energy. And my emotional state was just really blur. Like, I thought, was I truly happy? Was I truly happy? I was happy while I was eating the food, but the minute I stopped eating all the junk food that I wanted, I was not happy because I could feel myself gaining weight. I felt like crap in my body. My stomach was so bloated. I was constipated. It was the worst. I mean, I consume more laxatives than should be humanly allowable during that 90 days. But please, tell me that you haven't had these same thoughts. I wish I could just eat anything that I want and I wouldn't be able to, and I wouldn't get fat. That's what we all think. So here's what truly happened. I did eat anything I wanted, but I did get fat. 7 kilos heavier. Now, if you haven't seen the before and after pictures yet, you probably want to scoot your little booty on over to Insta and have a very quick have a very quick squiz, because I can tell you it is not pretty. I went from looking, in just a short 90-day period, I went from looking trim and feeling great to, well, you have to see the photos. My stomach especially is rolling, literally rolling out over my garments. I cannot fit into any of my clothes. I feel like shit and I feel like I look like shit. Not necessarily true. So don't come at me. I'm saying I feel like I look in a particular way. It doesn't make it real. It just means that it is real for me. So now you're thinking, what the fuck? Why did you do this? I really wanted to know, if I put myself in this position, I can now come to you and tell you, babe, it is fucking not all it's cracked up to be. It is a false positive, which is something that I was just discussing with the girls inside of my bombshell group on this week's call. I said, if you've ever been trying to get pregnant and then you had what they call a false positive, you thought you had something. You thought you had something and that made you so happy, but actually it turned out that it was false. It was never really there. Well, that's what it was like when I was eating all this junk food. I thought it was making me happy and I thought I was feeling good, but it was false. The whole time it was a false positive. I wasn't feeling good and it wasn't making me happy, because the moment I stopped eating that food, I felt like shit. I felt bad about myself. I felt bad every time I looked in the mirror. I felt horrible in my body and I felt horrible about my body. So it is now time for me over the next 90 days to do the complete opposite. Just like George Costanza, on opposite day, I am flipping the script. And every time now that my body says, my mind is like, just forget it. Don't worry about your promise to yourself. Who cares anyway? Go ahead and eat the chocolate, eat the cake, have all the things, and be like, no, honey, it's opposite day. I am doing the exact opposite of the choices that I made for the first 3 months of this year. I will be setting boundaries with myself. I will be exerting discipline. I will be saying no to myself. I will be moving my booty each day. I will be planning my meals. I will be following each one of the eating codes from inside of my blueprint to the letter. And I'm going to see now, sure, yes, to lose the weight, but also I want to see if exerting that level of discipline and structure is really as bad as we think it's going to be. So many of us think, I just want to eat anything that I want to eat, and I don't ever want to have to say no to myself. Well, honey, I did say no to myself for 3 months. I didn't say not one word of no came out of my mouth. It was a big fat yes to everything. And it wasn't all that it's cracked up to be. So now is the opportunity for me to reframe that fantasy. True freedom isn't about getting anything that you want all the time or eating anything that you want all the time. That's not what true freedom is. True freedom is you having the power to eat in a way that supports you being able to achieve anything that you want anytime that you want it. Let me just say that again. I said this when on today's call, and I just feel like this is such a light bulb moment. We think, I just want to be free. I want to be really free to eat anything that I want, anytime that I want it. But that's not freedom. That's actually living in a fucking cage, because you end up feeling like such a piece of shit about yourself and your life. Whereas true freedom isn't eating anything that you want anytime that you want it. True freedom is you eating in a way that supports your mind and your body so that you can have the ability to go after anything that you want anytime that you want it. I mean, I'm talking about balance over extremes here. Forget the all or nothing thinking. I am now putting myself in the position of being able to create a structure that allows me to enjoy myself, my life, and my food without the self-destruction. That's what it's really about. I'm having that mindset shift, or I am now going to be doing all the things that will allow me to have that mindset shift so that I can indulge with, let me put it this way. What I previously thought was so fabulous, like having indulgence without any limits, I thought that was going to be making me feel like I was on crack cocaine every day. But what it actually did was it made me feel worse, not better. The real goal here should be to feel good, not just free, but to feel great and empowered and motivated and like you have achieved something in your life. So here we go. If you want to do this with me, come find me over on Insta, drop into my DMs because I'll do it with you. We can do it together. The next 90 days is going to be shifting the experiment so that now I will be saying no to myself more in the moment, but by default, I'm saying yes to my long-term goals. Do you understand? What was happening before was I was saying yes to everything. Yes, I'll eat that. Yes, I'll have more of that. Yes, give me another serve of that. But by default, I was saying no to my long-term goals and happiness. Now I am going to be saying no to myself in the moment, and therefore, without me even having to lift a finger, I will be saying yes to my long-term goals and happiness. So this is the thing. I want you to think about why you think discipline is so horrible, because it really isn't. If you can reframe that discipline, it is not punishment. It's about you showing yourself some respect. That's what it's actually about. Instead of seeing it as restriction and punishment, see it as the gift that you give to your future self. And this is what I want to wrap up with you today. This is another thing that we talked about today inside of the Bombshell Blueprint, is that if you are currently saying no to yourself as restriction and deprivation, I want you to understand that there is a version of you that is waiting for you 90 days from now. She's just waiting for you to catch up to her. And I can think about it for myself. That version of me that's waiting for me to catch up to her 90 days from now, I'll either meet her and collide with her on the calendar, and I'll either be in an amazing body, feeling really good, having lost the weight and feeling like I'm on power and I'm on point and I'm on the path to achieving the things that I want this year, or I'm going to smack into her on the calendar and I'm going to have to explain why the fuck I still one more time didn't do the things that I said that I would do. Honey, it's happening either way. That time's passing either way. So you can either join me and we knuckle down and get this shit done over the next 90 days, or you can sit there in your bath full of excuses and catch up with the future version of you. She'll be there waiting for you in 90 days, but she's either going to slap you around the head or she's going to give you a big hug and say thank you. So I know which one I prefer. So let's start making it easy. Start on focusing. Oh my God, you can tell I'm still not feeling well. I've got such a bad cold. You could start by focusing on small goals, self-trust over self-control, and always remember the only person who has the power to change your life is you. When you step up and decide, yeah, there is a version of me that's waiting for me 90 days down the track, She's waiting. She will look and feel and be exactly how I want her to be, depending upon the decisions I make today. If you make great decisions today, she's going to look and feel fucking amazing. If you make another round of shitty decisions and excuses, then I don't even want to think about the version of you that you're going to bump into in 90 days' time. She's going to be not real happy with you. Let's just put it that way. So when you step up, take control, and really understand that saying no to yourself isn't about deprivation. It's actually the highest form of self-love. That's really when you've got what it takes. So I'm sending you tremendous amounts of love. As always, if you want to come join us inside of the Blueprint, go ahead and click the link in the show notes below or find us over at kyliepax.com/blueprint. Blueprint. And until then, I will see you again next week. Until then, gorgeous ones. Bye for now. Thank you so much for tuning in. Remember to shimmy your butt over to kyliepax.com and join me inside of the Bombshell Blueprint so you can stop emotional eating and start losing your way now. You'll also find helpful notes and resources inside my past podcasts that will help you lose your weight without losing your sanity. I will see you next week.